Hello everyone and welcome to the 10th installment of the Star Wars File, AYCH's exploration of the Star Wars film. And I'll be your host today, Patrick, and joining me are my 4 regular co-hosts and 1 special co-host, and those hosts are...
The last Colt. I've killed the others.
Oh, fuck.
It's Jonathan.
You gotta speak up. Speak up.
You gotta speak up.
John's like, hey, it's Jonathan here. That was Jonathan playing the reed organ, by the way. We just kind of went in with a weird opening for the first time. Pat was like, you know what, we're going to ignore it. We're going to pretend like that didn't happen.
You're at, like I wasn't going to mention it later?
I don't think you would have.
You don't know Pat.
You don't know Pat. Oh, Jonathan, you didn't even introduce yourself. You whispered.
He said Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm Jonathan.
Okay, and it is Calamari Cody.
Okay.
It's Mac the Zabrak.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
And it is the Knight of Wenzel.
And today we're talking about...
just ignore him. Fuck you.
This is it. We're finally getting around to it. We're going to talk about the Bantha in the room. We're talking about The Last Jedi. And this is actually a revisit for us because we first talked about it way back in episode 34 back in December of 2017. That's more like our initial feelings on the movie back in the day. And here we are almost 2 years later on the eve of the last saga film, episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And we thought it'd be more appropriate to revisit, the episodic film as we're getting close to the final installment. And sort of just go back and see if anything's changed, what stood out to us, or what the pros and cons were 2 years later. And before we just started with all that, let's just go around and say, what is this like the second or third time for everybody going, man? This is my second time seeing the movie since I saw it originally in 2017. And what about anybody else?
This is my second time as well. I've only seen it once, and the one time I did see it was the midnight release of it before shit actually hit the fan about the movie.
Yeah, this is probably like my 5th or 6th time seeing it.
Oh, this was my second, just like Colt.
This is my 4th, which is super abnormal for me because I have like hundreds of watches of all the other ones, like even the prequels. But like this one, there's just so much baggage attached to it. Like I love it, but I don't know. I just haven't rewatched. So this is only my 4th revisit.
This is my second. The first time was midnight release.
All right. And just what we, like I said, we talk about just sort of like any sort of changes in thought or opinion and what sort of things that we notice on this nth viewing of the movie and what sort of changed. And for me, I feel like the things I loved about the movie just stood out so much more in this latest rewatch, and like it just sort of really sort of solidifies like my appreciation for the film. Of course, the flaws, they were apparent to me, but I feel like it just means so much more to me now. What about everybody else?
For me, like, I remember the first time I watched it, I loved it. It was one of my favorite Star Wars movies at the time when I did first see it. And going into the second time around, I was trying to see like what everybody hated about the movie, which was apparently everything about the movie. And I just couldn't really see it. Everything I liked about it in the first watch through, I liked about it just as much or even a little bit more this second time around. I love this movie. It's really good.
I remember coming out of the theater the first time seeing it, and I was like, yeah, I think I really like this movie, but I don't know because it was a lot, and one of the main reasons I don't revisit this movie a lot is it is an exhausting movie in a lot of ways. Like,
yeah.
You feel like you've got your ass kicked every time you watch it,
For sure.
but like. Then I remember everyone being like, "Oh, fuck this movie, it sucks," and I'm like, "Wait, did I miss something?" And then I saw it again in theaters, and I was like, "Okay, people are just dumb," because I like some of the flaws are made in good faith, or some of the criticisms are made in good faith, and it's like I could see where that would bother someone else.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me, but a lot of it I feel is just bad faith. It's not meeting people's ridiculously high standards of what Star Wars is or should
and
be.
Weird standards, sexist standards, all these weird
and
standards.
just like weird like racism,
Sexist,
sexism,
yeah.
stuff like that.
It's really disgusting.
We'll get into that as we go on.
On this episode, this is my second watch through. The first time I watched it, I really loved it, and the second time I watched it, after criticism and kind of hearing everybody's plights, I was really afraid that I might actually dislike it the second time around. I was really afraid this might be really weak, but I loved this one. I really do. It was really good, and there's just a lot about The Last Jedi that I don't know. It was a really beautiful movie that had a lot of like implications in the Star Wars universe, and not as I mean, I know Jonathan and I always talk about subverting expectations is sometimes annoying, but for a series that's long-standing like Star Wars, it really needed this, I think this movie was very much needed for it to be able to move on as a series and whatever else comes of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I'm like, I think I loved that, but I think I need to watch it again to make sure. And then the second time I saw it, I was like, yeah, I do love it. It's great. And then the third time I watched it was still like probably within just a couple months of it, premiering. So like it was probably still in the theater, or it was like whenever that first like Netflix thing came out. Like, so it was like it had like just gotten out of theaters, or it may have even still been in theaters when it hit Netflix. It was in theaters for a long time. So it was like twice in the theater, and then once, at home. And that other time, I found that I didn't like it as much, and that worried me a little bit. I was like, what's going on? And I think it had a lot to do with just the conversation at large, and just that, like, I had done a Star Wars. I was doing a Star Wars podcast at the time, and just like really living, breathing like Star Wars as a whole. And I guess just like all the conversation around the movie had started to just make me not like Star Wars that much. Not because I didn't, and it wasn't because I didn't like the movie. It was because I was just the
tired of hearing that.
Yeah, yeah. Like
it's almost like PTSD in a way.
Yeah, like for sure. And so that's why I've racked up as few watches of it as I have, like at least for like by my standards. And so like I don't know, I just left it alone for a while, and like ended up like I still have people text me like why The Last Jedi sucks. They'll like be like, oh, here's a new YouTube video that came out in the year of our Lord 2019.
I love that. People will like send you stuff, be like, here's explaining the reason why this sucks because I can't explain it because I don't understand why I hate it.
Right.
Because I just hate it.
Yeah. And so like, but like watching it this time after, like I've removed myself from kind of the Star Wars conversation at large, just for like my mental health and everything, and then so I've gone back to just enjoying Star Wars like privately and with my close friends, except for doing a show on the Mandalorian, so like, but like that's such a niche thing, and like I can just really kind of focus on that.
And everyone loves it,
right? Everyone
so
loves
like,
it.
so it's like, woo!
It's
so that first episode dropped, I'm sure you guys were just like wiping your brow.
It's good.
Like,
okay, good.
Oh God, we can continue. Let's keep it going.
Everybody likes it. Great. Yeah, but like, man, watching it this time, this I think was my favorite watch, like of The Last Jedi. Like I love this movie. It's super fun. Like,
which is surprising for us because like we were bantering really hard during it just for funsies.
I was tuning most of it out, but
I was expecting you and Pat to just kill us because we were just bantering so hard throughout the week.
I bring a different person in and you just completely run them off with your bullshit.
Can't take y'all anywhere.
That's us.
I'm just saying that milk scene. Oh, it got me hype as shit.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Mac, why don't you explain a little bit about that milk scene, how it was sort of put in the movie?
Yo, they cut so much like potential story that they shot, like more stuff of like Luke and Rey training like on the island and like all that kind of stuff. They cut like all that to make room in the budget to have that Thala siren. I think it's called a Thala.
It says like Thala siren.
Thala siren, I think is what they had to like helicopter that thing in, and they made like so much room like in the budget by like just dumping other ideas and like other parts of the script and stuff just so they could fly that thing in there and get that scene.
Oh, thank the fucking Lord.
From what I heard, Mark Hamill hated that.
What a loser.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the scenes that got cut was like Luke having like a moment where he's grieving over Han.
Yeah.
And but then it's like, okay, we know you wanted to talk about Han, Mark, but we really needed to suck this thing's titty.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. If y'all watch the documentary, it's called The Director and the Jedi. It like comes with the special features of like The Last Jedi. It is wild. And like the tension between like Mark Hamill and Rian Johnson throughout the whole thing is like very palpable.
Fuck.
Yeah, but
it kind of does suck the fact that you had to like weigh the cost of the enjoyment of the movie to the dealing with the backlash from the fan base. You really had to weigh those two together, and your enjoyment of the movie was not your disenjoyment with the movie did not come from the movie itself, but from an outside force that made you dislike the movie, but made you have
like apprehension.
Towards the movie. It was almost
made me start questioning things, and just like I couldn't just have a clean watch of the movie like without like all this other context.
All the voices.
Well, much in the same way when I was doing looking up information about the movie for today's show, like I was like actively dreading even just like Googling stuff about The Last Jedi. I was going to see like a bunch of YouTube with like big red circles and the red arrows, how this sucked and how
cinematic disaster.
Why I hate this so much.
And it's just silly. I mean, I understand Star Wars means a lot of things to a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, so there's no one particular vision of it, and that's fine. But I think something that come across in the movie that'd be very applicable to just, I guess, the angry parts of the fan base is that we should be careful about the things and the people that we deify, because we just this unrealistic and unhealthy vision, and once we're sort of confronted with the reality of it, it falls apart because it doesn't meet this impossible standard that we raised up for ourselves.
Pat, the way you just said that isn't the way I had it in my head, so therefore I hate it.
I do want to also say, like, how about we don't go into a movie expecting a movie company or producers like automatically looking to change your opinions on whatever, and just enjoy it for what it is.
But
you know what I'm saying?
But Cody, I expect them all to read what I said on the forums.
Like one thing I was noticing is people were like, "Oh, Disney is just putting in this character because it pushes this agenda," and I'm just like, "Well, why are you come to the conclusion? Like, what made you think of the conclusion? And like, where's the evidence for it within the movie?
Right,
and,
like projecting much?
You're
just you see these things happen, like these like positive changes happening in the world around you that you don't like, and so you project it onto this thing. That's like in the public, like in the zeitgeist, just to like have a hill to die on.
After like the whole Last Jedi stuff kind of blew over, but it never blew over. Those same channels probably posted the SJW gets destroyed videos that you see everywhere. Ben Shapiro fucking destroys Lib.
Wenzel didn't get to tell his his stuff. Wenzel.
I know. I could hear you. I have earbuds.
I don't know if you can hear.
What do you
Hey,
mean?
everybody talking to your mics real close. Hey, Wenzel. Wenzel.
Hello, my name is Ben Shapiro, and you're wrong. I'm sorry. Okay, another time. Anyway, I loved watching it again, and kind of like what Max said, it's like just hearing so much hate. It's like, man, now I hate Star Wars because it's like this is so stupid, and it made no sense. And I remember, like the first watch, I was like, man, I really love this, but like, is it warranted? You know, like, is it just dumb love? And then after watching the second time, like, no, this fucking movie's fantastic. It's awesome. Like, yeah, there's like, you know, little flaws here and there, and then, you know, there's that Cantabite scene that like probably didn't need to be put in there, but like the movie as a whole is fantastic, and it honestly makes no sense for people to hate it as much as they do. It's just at some point it just comes down to like sexist and racist scumbags.
I mean, let's just think about it, right? I'm going to say something super controversial, but I'm not actually going to say it because I don't really believe it. Okay, I'm going to say it real quick.
Oh no. I can't say.
Do you think that the Empire Strikes Back should have had the Sky City scene? No. That's the Cantabite scene in this one.
What?
What?
Wait,
I don't even
No,
know.
you know the scene in...
Bespin and Cantobite play very different like roles in.
I don't think so. I think they're pretty much the same thing.
No.
Explain.
Both useless.
In what ways?
Oh, they just do.
So you don't think the betrayal of Han Solo is like a useful?
Have you seen Lando since?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he helped blow up the second Death Star.
Also, he's coming up soon.
Also,
He's
Luke,
also going to be back.
also Luke got his
all
head
I'm
cut
saying,
off.
all I'm saying is that there are unnecessary scenes in Star Wars.
Literally, the "I am your father" line comes from Cloud City.
Okay,
You know, I think he might be facetious in this moment.
let me rephrase what I said. Do you remember episode 2 and the droid factory?
Yes.
Well,
that movie is non-essential.
yeah, that movie is.
Do you remember episode 2? Just in general.
I hate sand. Just bringing that up.
Yeah.
You know,
That's my opinion.
That's actually all I remember.
Of course, and gets everywhere.
That's all I remember from the prequel trilogy. Sand.
And Yoda going hard as hell.
That's what I remember from all Star Wars. Star Wars is just pretty space lights and sand. That's the whole damn series at this
So
point.
there are a lot of desert planets.
There's a lot of desert. Yeah,
it makes
a lot
me
of,
mad.
A lot of pretty space lights too. So
It's like they can only get Lucasfilms only get rights, or not rights, but like permission to film in like Utah and like fucking
Tunisia. I think there's something to, and this is like a way off on a tangent, but I think there's something about like desert environments that make it easier to feel alien, because most of us don't live in deserts like that are
feels like Mars.
Right.
You don't have to CG in a new breed of plant.
Right. Yeah, and like you don't have to like worry about like shooting around like towns and stuff, because you've got like miles and miles. So I think there's like a psychological thing. There's like desert equals strange to us.
But
Yeah.
I think it helps, it build up the sense of like remoteness and
vastness.
like feeling small and far away in this like bigger sort of story or conflict.
But then you go into space and that ends, and you're like, wow, this is open. But then people were like, or at least I was, when I first started looking at like hyperspace and stuff like that, I was thinking, well, damn, why don't they hit like an asteroid? But then you realize space is just empty for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So, also hyperspace missiles. Can we get into that conversation eventually?
No, not yet. Anyway, I feel bad for Kelly Marie Tran. I loved her.
Yeah,
I loved her.
Sure.
Rose.
She's a phenomenal actress. She was so excited on like the press circuits and stuff. Like it was like a joy to watch her be excited for people to like see the movie, you know? Like, and then like with what happened afterwards, I'm just like, who do I need to pay a visit to? Like,
and it was funny too, because when Pat was talking about like looking up like information about the movie, I remember doing that too, and I just saw so many racist articles just about her, and I mean racist, really racist. And it's like, why are these here? Like, man, the Star Wars fandom is just coming out, man. Like, all stormtroopers are just white cis males under those helmets. None of them can be anything else.
Which is why I was really relieved when she came out for the episode 9 press junk, like the first big one.
Yeah.
A huge applause pop for her, which is like, I'm sure it was a big relief for her to see like, hey, all these jackasses online, these don't represent,
Right.
Oh yeah, I would have been screaming.
It's a super vocal minority. Like they're just a super loud minority.
who think they have like the end all be all authority on Star Wars.
Right, they're trying to act like gatekeepers.
Yeah, for sure.
And they do the same thing with all kinds of different properties and franchises. But like, yeah, and that moment was almost like it was like kind of the same feeling I got when Hayden Christensen had come out a couple of years ago on stage, and everybody cheered for him too. Like I'm like, yeah, like the people who actually like Star Wars like understand that like the people making Star Wars for you to watch, like they're fans too. Like they're just trying to like, this property that we all love, like
and they're
enjoy it in their
it's
own
like
way,
they're people, and
right.
It's
But-
like you don't have to necessarily like their performance, but
No.
you don't have to attack them as a person.
They're people.
Oh, but here's why you're wrong, Jonathan. Because they're part of it, that makes them a bad person, and they're ruining everything.
They're accomplices to watching.
They're accomplices to murder of cinema. Do you get that, Jonathan? Or can your intellect
Wendell, I
comprehend
think
that?
this is a new character thing for you. I
It's-
think you should keep it.
I love it.
You missed the car ride up to Lighthouse.
Oh my god, yeah, it was just like 30
At
minutes
some
of
point,
just that.
I think I manifested into Ben Shapiro, and I wanted to just throw myself out the car.
You should just like that should be your new thing now. Is just be like super aggro.
Aggro towards that.
It's like Wintle. Would you allow us to speak with Ben Shapiro?
Oh, God.
Can you?
Oh God, the table's shaking! Why do I suddenly hear?
The lights.
Winston, you lost a foot. You lost a height.
What's that fucking dude's name? Keith
Urban?
Not Keith Urban. What's the name of that fucker who sings like "Put a boot in his ass" like country America shit?
Keith Urban.
Toby Keith. Oh. Sounds like Toby Keith start blaring, which also sounds strangely at the same time with the sounds of bomb sirens going off in the background.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm tracking with it.
Suddenly, blue and red lights start flashing.
He is painting a picture. I fully understand.
It's the police. Pull over.
Someone hasn't heard A Bay Bay.
You nasty little girl.
Okay,
Did he really say that?
I wouldn't be surprised. God, he's an awful person.
And why did we even? Don't let Tanner hear this episode. He will take down this
Well, it can't be
podcast.
any worse than the Twilight episode.
Tanner, you dirty boy.
All right, steering this conversation back on track.
One thing I noticed during the movie, we started shit talking the General Hux actor. I was like, wow, we are really trashing on his looks.
No, we're
so
stressing
we-
on General Hux.
Right.
Not- yeah, I
we
know.
love Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah, he's a good
Yeah.
guy.
I just felt bad.
His name being fairly hard to pronounce, and I'm really not sure if I'm doing it correctly. Because it's like Domhnall. It's like it's a
Domhnall.
yeah. But he's a great guy. Love him. General Hux though. Oh man.
I just want to give him a swirly.
Yeah.
And he just gets shit on the entire movie, and it's fantastic.
Right.
Well, like he doesn't like. We'll see. Like, sorry, the later half when he literally gets like he gets force choked and he gets fucking thrown by Kylo. Good shit, man. Honestly, like Hux
Cathartic.
Hux is nowhere near like the level of like Tarkin. So like the fact that he thinks that he has any sort of like level of like not confidence, but like any power over Kylo is just like he's mistaken. Like he's a little piece of shit.
Well, Hux in this movie kind of reminds me of the villain in Rogue One. It's sort of like he's kind of like this, like wuss or a nerd who just kind of like because of his position, he just thinks he has like all the power in the world.
Yeah.
But the second it's taken away from him, he realizes just how like puny and insignificant
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. There's a British word for it, which is jobsworth. Like if someone's a jobsworth, they've been put in like a position of just like the slightest bit of power or authority. Like they've just attained like this tiny little grasp of it, and they let it like completely define them, and they just like take themselves entirely too seriously.
To be fair, though, he is in charge of all the stormtroopers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of.
I mean, like the thing is, though, is he's like a relay. He's just like the person who hits. He's the button that they hit to do the thing.
Yeah.
Without having to deal directly with Snoke or with Kylo.
Right, and like in the books and stuff, his dad Brindle Hux was a big deal, and actually like kind of was the one who put in place the like program for like stealing and then training stormtroopers and stuff like that. So he just like basically inherited his dad's position.
Nepotism.
Yeah. So that's just
But it's interesting because at the end of this movie, you start seeing him kind of transform a little bit. You start seeing him, like, of course, you had the scene where they're in the throne room, and he's like kind of he's defying Kylo, but then and Kylo chokes him, and he becomes like, "Yes, Daddy, whatever you want." And then whenever Kylo is like shooting the shit out of Mark Hamill's spirit. We don't call him Luke anymore. That's just Mark Hamill in a costume at this point.
Yeah.
As he's shooting the shit out of him, Hux is kind of in the background. You kind of see his face is like, this dude is out of fucking control. And we might probably see that transform in the next movie.
I think that he may play a role in like turning against Kylo, like almost maybe springing a trap.
Oh, that'd be kind of
like
that'd be interesting.
That kind of like puts Kylo almost in a spot.
Yeah.
So like not that he becomes a good guy, but he maybe helps.
He realizes like
his ego gets
in a way because they kind of start.
Hey, we both want Kylo gone, so I was like maybe not work with the resistance, but it's like we both have the same goal, so like, it's like this independent mutual interest.
Yeah.
Another thing, another thing with Hux, real quick, is also in the throne room. I realized he wasn't trying to take away the power from Kylo. He wasn't trying to take the position of Kylo. He was saying, we have no leader, what's our purpose? He wasn't saying, we have no leader, therefore I am the leader. He is saying, Snoke is gone, what the fuck are we going to do now? And, like, what's next? And I think that's much, like, I thought his character was that shows less of a power-hungry character and more of a character that's sort of lost in what to do. So I'm interested to see, like, what... If that were the case, if it were the case that there was a transformation of like, okay, we need to take down Kylo together, I'm interested to see like what the First Order's purpose will become because Hux has the whole purpose of the First Order was to fulfill the needs of the fucking
Empire?
of Snoke, not
Snoke.
of the Empire.
Yeah, Snoke.
The Empire itself. At least with the Empire, with the head cut off, it could have technically existed as a form of government, but the First Order doesn't. It's no government, it has no power over anybody, it has no authority.
It's just some kind of fucking cult.
Yeah, and so like without the head of it, and without the two like main dark side people, like what is their purpose? And I don't know. I'm very interested to see like how that unfolds.
Which just a huge fucking just. Shot in the dark. But what if like the First Order just for some reason transformed into like the New Republic? Like all these because like they have the power, the military and everything.
Well, they don't anymore. They're
yeah. Remember?
The First Order straight blew up the New Republic in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So the First Order is definitely going to be like they're definitely angling to step into that vacuum of power.
And we see
the Empire.
Yeah,
and the whole thing is they want to be the Empire again.
And when we see in the trailer for Episode 9 is they have like a huge fucking fleet of ships just on some random planet in a storm. They have these like several ships. So it's like they still have a military and they still are pretty powerful. So I mean. That'd be kind of interesting to see these crazy fucks fill in that void.
I'm still interested in the Knights of Ren as well. Like, what the hell is going on there?
Like
they didn't like. I was thinking when I was going into this movie, I was thinking we're either going to see them or they're just a non-thing anymore. Like they were just sort of like a passing sort of thing. They might make it to a comic later, but then they brought them up again in the sense that Mark Hamill or Luke fucking explains to Rey that he took several of my students and went off with them, and so that's them bringing up the night. Well, they're called the Knights of Ren right now, but who the hell knows what they're going to be called, really? But the like, what the fuck is there? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
There's a, and I'm sorry to keep like referring to books and stuff.
No, it's fine because we don't know this stuff. We're not. I mean, we are fans, but we're not like you.
I'm unhealthy. But so there's in the Aftermath trilogy, which is kind of like a trilogy that takes place right after Return of the Jedi. It was kind of the first stuff in the new canon that was stretching out after the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And so there's in like these interludes, like all throughout the trilogy, there's these this like kind of cult type thing called the Acolytes of the Beyond. when they like kind of find like a bunch of Sith artifacts, and like the artifacts like imbue them with dark side energy.
Oh,
and so they
fuck.
kind of go crazy. And like, I'm not saying that those are going to directly turn into the Knights of Ren or anything, but I think it might be kind of a similar, like culty, like dark side culty situation.
It would have to fall in line with the movies, because they're not gonna throw a wrench into. They're not gonna throw something into the system that they can't explain in the movie.
Well, I just started it, so I don't know anymore. But in the Jedi Fallen Order, the Jedi's, I don't know if it's in the movies as well, but whenever they touch an object, they get the history and a bunch of info on the object when they touch it.
Holocrons?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
But
Their
yeah,
thing, yeah.
yeah, because that was like a big thing in the Clone Wars.
But wasn't that like a specific?
That was a specific episode.
Like, or it's like a specific power that like individuals have. Like, isn't that like Quinlan Voss's shtick?
No, I mean, pretty much anybody can read holocrons if they're like, you know, like if it's a Sith holocron, you pretty much have to be in tune with the dark side to be able to, and then like kind of vice versa with the light.
Yeah, because what's his name? Does it in Rebels? In like the very
Darth
first.
Ezra and Darth Maul have to open one together because it's both light and dark. So it's like they had to work together to open one. So like, I mean, I think Quinlan Voss, like I think his thing was like finding them.
Oh.
He was like a hunter
But
tracker type thing.
But Cole, you were talking about specifically. Is it? Does it open up and a hologram pops out and talks to you,
No, it's all like,
or is it just like a shield that they put their hand on? They're like, oh, I get it. It's
yeah, because
Okay, that's
whenever he touched like in a guitar, he gained the memories of the guitar and like he started to play a song on it.
Oh, that's different then.
Yeah, that must be a specific force power for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could be like that how they touch the Sith objects. That could how they got their powers. That could be
We
similar.
could go all day speculating
Yeah,
on what the
yeah.
fuck they're gonna do.
Yeah.
We don't really know, and I'm kind of excited about that. That I have zero fucking clue what they're gonna do. I mean, I know there's been spoilers. Please don't or not spoilers, but like hint towards what's gonna happen. But like articles and like spoils and like set things like
I will just.
I don't want to be spoiled. For
I
it.
won't spoil. Just watch out for toys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which it didn't really like. I wasn't like, oh man. I was like, ah, like it was pretty sick.
And I mean, the trailers have already been very revealing. So
And
Which
like,
makes me wonder, like, what are they not revealing?
yeah.
They're really pretty good with their trailers, because there was a lot that whenever I went to The Last Jedi, I was like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, like I thought the last,
they told us everything.
and then like ended up being like they just killed Snoke, and like I didn't expect Snoke to die.
I think that's one thing that's very much worth mentioning about The Last Jedi is it's a very meta movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of stuff that's talking directly to the audience.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like Luke saying like this is not going to go the way you think.
Exactly,
And, then, like,
yeah.
and he's like, what? Do you just like expect me to like march down there with a laser sword and take on the whole First Order? Which is exactly what people want.
That's what he ended up doing.
Well, but not. Like,
Yeah, because it
not,
wasn't.
not in the way you
not in
think.
the way you think.
He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there's just so much in this movie that's just talking just directly to the audience.
And
And
it's
it makes
amazing.
me wonder if it was purposeful. Like I don't
it absolutely is.
but like purposeful in the sense of like the whole outrage and backlash was purposeful. Like and not necessarily as like a scheme to get more money, but like as like a culling of the community in a way. And that sounds really bad, but like
Sounds like some like Knights of Ren type stuff.
but like let's get them the fuck out of here. Like like this is a path that we're going down, and instead of like kind of tiptoeing on either side and trying to appease everybody, they're like full speed ahead, bitch. Like we're Hodo going through the goddamn
The ships.
ships.
I think so. Like The Force Awakens was basically kind of like a reintroduction, and like, hey, all of this is super familiar.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I love The Force Awakens.
I do too.
I don't think that was a bad thing
Not
that
at
they
all.
did. Like,
I think you had to do that. for
right.
episode
You
seven.
couldn't do
Just
it
to
any
get
other way.
everybody back together and on board. Right.
Yeah.
And then The Last Jedi, I think then like maybe like that movie kind of took it upon itself to say like, okay, we're all here, but like the thing that you love and appreciate, like the exact things, like this is a living kind of breathing organism that's going to change and evolve and grow and move forward.
Yeah.
Right. It's not going to be these 3 movies forever. Like, so like I think The Last Jedi did a lot to like set us up. Like, hey, we are growing and doing
Yeah.
bigger, like newer things.
I agree.
You know,
I agree with that.
and I think that's that's kind of at the core of what all the backlash is. It's just like a direct, like, people feeling attacked. You know?
Here's the thing, Mac. Here's the thing. I don't believe in monkeys.
What?
What? Where did that come from?
He said evolution.
Oh. They evolved from porgs.
Can we just talk about how porgs were completely invented because they couldn't solve the puffin problem?
Love it. Absolutely love it.
It solved the puffin problem and the merchandising problem.
Exactly.
Boom.
Yeah.
Win-win.
I bet you that person who did that assistant that probably like gets the coffee was just like, what if we did this? And they were like, you know what's a great idea? Now go get me more coffee. And they're probably homeless now.
That's not
Wow,
funny.
you fucking made this
why?
not fun.
Because they get a single residual check when they're coming up with the porgs. We'll just turn the puffins into these little penguin badger things. That's why with their ears.
And the person at the showing is like, "Oh man, that's my idea, bitch."
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you, Wenzel.
But going off what Mac was saying, how I think a lot of the sort of core of the backlash has been sort of people feeling attacked, even though I don't think that's what the film is saying. Because it's also like sort of a appraisal of what Star Wars is, but also not shying away from the criticisms of like certain narrative tropes.
Yeah.
But like just how like Luke is handled in the movie, because I don't know, to me anyway, like Luke out of the main three cast in the original trilogy was probably the most boring character.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be all of us.
Yeah, because
Like-
he was supposed to be sort of this blank slate that people could like map their own personality.
What was the thing we were watching recently that was going on with? There was something that we were talking about recently.
Mickey
don't hit
Mouse.
Jonathan.
Like in the past 6 months, we were watching something, and it was like the character. Oh, Harry Potter. Like Harry Potter himself.
Harry Potter does not have a personality.
No,
because
he
he's
doesn't.
supposed to be all of us.
He-
It's just a vehicle you can step into to like live this narrative.
Link.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Pikachu.
Yeah, and I think and one of the main criticisms people had with the movie was like, oh, I didn't like the direction they went with Luke. Luke sucks in this movie. And it's like,
He's great.
and I was like, that was my favorite part of the movie, just the way the way he was conflicted, and how each of those scenes of the flashback with him and Ben are told, and how it reveals more and more information.
Right.
I don't know, and you ask a lot of these people, it's like, well, like, what would you have done differently? All of their responses are so much more fucking boring.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, Luke literally just shows up with a lightsaber at the last moment.
Yeah,
and just, kicks ass for half an hour.
Or is like basically a Mary Sue. It's like, oh, it's almost like it's okay for him to be a Mary Sue if he's a man.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I just really, and it's not like inconsistent with his character. Like to me, I felt like this was a natural progression.
Of
I
it
think-
did feel like a natural progression.
I have always seen that, like, Luke is supposed to just represent, like, the wide-eyed dreamer, basically, and all this. That's, like, the side of everybody that he's appealing to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think me, personally, like, I've always really related to that, because I think I'm kind of similar in personality, like that. And then I know that, like, with myself, like, the drawback of being that, like, dreamer type is that your expectations are so often just shattered because like the world's cruel, right?
Yeah.
And to me, the place we find Luke on Octu, like I related with that. Like this is someone who had all of the optimism and was like working like super hard to build this new world he had envisioned, you know, with like a new generation of Jedi and all that kind of stuff, and then had his hopes dashed. And so, like, it's super relatable from a character standpoint, I think.
Exactly, and not only that, on top of that, he's sort of been built as this fucking legend too, and then to have this be like really his first failure in decades, probably, to just have that his like house of cards just crumble around him. That's a natural conclusion would be like just absolute cynicism.
Right, just cut yourself off. Like, forget it, you know.
One of the complaints that I had when I first watched it, and it still remains with me now, is the inclusion of Yoda.
Love it.
I love it. I think it was great.
Yeah.
However, it kind of is defeated in the scene where the books are in her drawer. To me, it's like, so, like, it seems like of course, you have the prequel trilogy that kind of brings up the whole, Jedi are too dogmatic. They're too bureaucratic.
They suck in the prequels, yeah.
And then you get to the middle parts, the original trilogy, and the Jedi. We're just kind of learning what the Jedi are. The Jedi are the ultimate sort of being, and
let's kind of roll it back to the roots of what it is.
Yeah, and then we go into this next one, and it's just like, and this new trilogy, and it's like, okay, there's something new kind of brewing in the Force. The Force itself is kind of overtaking what it means to be Jedi. We kind of see that, but in this one in particular, it was almost like a conversation, like Luke kind of comes to the conclusion that it's time for the Jedi to end, and then what it means to be a true Jedi and to form a new world of what it means to be Jedi is in Rey, and that's what the conclusion I got from the Yoda and Luke scene, and then you get to the end and it's like, and because you see almost like Yoda is also kind of like, it means more than what the books can hold. Then the books are there, and it's like, oh, well, all that stuff about like it being in Rey and starting anew and starting over, yeah, that's all like doesn't really matter anymore. That stuff is that it is in Rey, but she's now got guides to help her.
Yeah, I disagree with that, and like this is
no, I'm pissed.
This is great discourse,
Yeah.
That's like healthy and civil. And
Whoa,
it's crazy that we're about to have that about The Last Jedi. I don't know if it's ever been done before.
This is getting too hot. This is getting too hot for me, guys.
But so I think that one of the most important lines that Yoda says is like, "We are what they grow beyond."
Yeah,
and so I think that the books are a starting place. But then, from everything else, we know that Rey's going to surpass, like, where even...
Yeah.
Well, and then on top of that, I feel like one of the big themes of this movie is to grow beyond cynicism.
Yeah.
And I think... And we also see the sentiment echoed with Kylo Ren, where he's like, oh, we just need to burn it all down. It's all worthless. And it's like, no, there's a lot here. It's just... There are some, like, trappings around it that are, I guess, more toxic and stuff like that, where... You can't just like be completely passive and cut yourself off.
Yeah,
that's also sort of the point with DJ as well.
Yeah,
where he's just this completely amoral mercenary, and you kind of have to at a certain point especially when you're dealing with Nazis, like. You can't be middle of the road with a Nazi. I mean, you have to pick one side or the other, and you have to stand up for what you believe in.
Right, because if you are middle of the road, you've picked your side.
And then, like, it even goes into the meta element where it was like, I think, kind of challenging a lot of people's criticisms with Star Wars. Oh, Star Wars sucks, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, Star Wars is worth it. It has a lot to offer. But you shouldn't shy away from the criticisms, but you shouldn't write the entire thing off. And I feel like that's what having the books at the end really helps cement.
Because I was going to build on top of that. It's just sort of like there's the good and the bad from the past. You can't let the past will define you as much as you let it, and it's sort of your choice to do with that what you will. But also you can take the good and the bad in the past, and you can go from it. Like that's why one of the biggest themes about the movie is failure. Like failure and victory, they both have their strengths and weaknesses, which I thought was really interesting. How we pull so much from failure in this movie, and we feel like, oh, I lost, but there's so much to gain. And plus with Poe's arc in the movie, he won a big victory, but it ended up being more damaging in the long run, because you win the battle, but that battle could have lost you the war. And I feel like it's sort of like seeing the flip side to both victory and failure. That's a big thing that we take from this movie, and I think it's very powerful. Some people said, oh, the morals or lessons are too heavy-handed in the movie, but I feel like if you have something to say, you really can't beat around the bush, and I feel like that's why the themes of this movie have probably the most resonance of all the Star Wars movies that I've seen. To me, that's why it's the most important and most pertinent to the world right now.
Yeah, and to sort of counteract push back against that notion of, oh, all the themes are too heavy-handed. These are movies about space wizards aimed at children.
Well, but and that's the thing too. Is just like and that goes back to criticism of movies altogether. It's just like movies are there to tell a story, and much of the time there is a meaning, morality built into those stories. Like there's some movies that really do well with subtlety and light touch. Like we watched Call Me by Your Name last night. And then there's other movies that do very well with heavy-handed, thick lashes of emotion and power. And guess what? Star Wars lies on the other spectrum, that end of the latter end of that thick power.
Here's the thing, Cody. I need you to stop pushing your agenda on me because I'm smarter than you, but I need my stuff to be simple. I need it to be simple. It has to be straightforward.
Okay.
Don't want to think too much. Big think.
Even though
hurts
I
small
am
brain.
smarter than you, my intellect is big penis.
Ooh.
Smarter than you. There cannot be any meaning whatsoever.
I'm ignoring you now. Leave me alone, Ghost of Ben Shapiro.
You can't escape me, Cody. I follow you wherever you go.
Go away, Ben Sharipo.
Oh no!
Get out the
God. Nancy Pelosi's possessing me now.
Get out the incense! Get out the incense!
No, we're not making this podcast political.
So, like Cody, you were talking about how like emotion and stuff in this movie,
Yeah.
is just like sheer like brute force, like emotion.
Yeah.
Like I think that this movie is. It makes you feel like more than a lot of Star Wars. Like
Yeah,
other Star
it
Wars
really
movies.
does.
Like, I mean, Star Wars always makes me feel, but like this one, I think that the direction, like Rian Johnson, like he like very masterfully, even from like the just from Jump Street with the bombers and like Paige Tico like sacrificing herself to make get that last bomber, like to
Like you felt all of her wishes and desires and her love for what she was doing.
Right.
You felt her passion. You felt her like
there was the fear, and not necessarily the fear of like dying, but the fear of failure, of like,
Yeah.
not saving
Like-
your
Oh, yeah.
friends, and the both the sadness that you're going to die, but also the sweetness that is like, oh,
It'll be worth it.
Right, it'll be worth it, and like
you felt the rebellion in her. Like if that
Yeah.
makes any
Oh,
sense.
yeah. For sure.
and then like there's so many other moments like that. Like I teared up I think three different separate occasions, even like through all of y'all's.
Our bantering just made you cry. It was so beautiful. Thank you.
But like when Luke's talking to Leia, talking about how no one's ever really gone, hands her the dice with Han, like oh man, that's
Yeah.
powerful stuff.
What he really was alluding to was the fact that she's probably gonna be CG'd throughout the entire next movie. Nope. No, really?
Yeah, they're using. They're using.
Oh,
they're
that's so
using
good.
Yeah.
additional footage that they shot and didn't use.
Yep.
So it's amazing.
We'll see here in the after credit scenes or something. There's something there's CG'd in there.
Speaking of emotion, though, like the fight scene with Kylo, Rey, and the Praetorian Guard, like
Yo.
just you can feel besides like how awesome it was and like the action, you can feel like the ferocity and
like,
the anger.
the desperation.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like there's two types of heaviness here. There's the heaviness of what it means. The force is in the balance. Like the balance of like the universe is in the hands of these two individuals, right? And Kylo and like the actual like I don't want to say metaphysical, but metaphysical, right? So like the spiritual essence of what it means to have the force, the life, and things like that is in the hands of these two individuals, and to some degree. And then you also have the actual like danger that's happening of like the rebellion, which is sort of like the physical manifestation of the force in a way.
Good.
It's like the Force users have always, I think, been like super. Like it's a lofty thing. They represent like the ideas, the spiritual struggles, and then but that I think some of the appeal of Star Wars as a archetype is that you also have just the regular people, and you see how those the clash of ideas and the clash of different spiritual positions basically affect normal people like us. I think that's what's so powerful.
Yeah. I really like the fact that it shows that I don't know what I'm talking about. I lost my thought. Like literally, as I was talking, it was there and then it was gone.
Well, I have to say, Cody, you said metaphysical. I have a JO crystal, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
A what?
A what?
You've been charging it over there?
Yeah, I've been charging it, Cole. I've been charging my JO crystal. Can't wait to use it tonight.
Oh my gosh. Jerk off crystal.
I didn't know.
I was trying to ignore him.
You can't ignore me, Cody. I am around every corner, in every shadow, in every place that you could possibly imagine. I will always find you.
He is the beyond.
I'm ignoring you right now.
I think Win Shapiro might be the worst
When you
bit
close
of
your
the podcast.
eyes, you see me.
Ben Shapiro doesn't exist. Ben Shapiro doesn't exist. Ben Shapiro doesn't exist.
No.
Thank God. He's like Slifer. What? Slifer the Sky Dragon. No, it's the fucking. What is that little shit called from Dora? Swiper. He's fucking Swiper. He's just annoying and literally just throws a kink in the fucking plans of society.
Swiper, no wiping.
I was thinking Beetlejuice.
Yeah, but we like
Wow.
Beetlejuice. I hope I don't say boo.
Oh,
Don't say it a third time.
Beetlejuice.
It's me again.
What the fuck were we talking about?
You were
The
talking about
Last Jedi
Star
or
Wars.
So another criticism that it seems like is floating around in the group to some degree, also mainly me, was the because I mean I don't want to be I don't want to get caught up in the stupid criticisms of what the cumulative. I don't believe in those. I do believe that there are some mistakes, or not mistakes, but like things that I wish were done differently.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they're
as
def-
with any movie.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are definitely some like criticisms that are made in good faith.
I
Yeah, for
do
sure.
think that like a sacrifice of Finn at the end of the movie would have been a better choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I like that I get to see more of him, especially.
Yeah, I do too.
I want like back to that kind of Force Awakens vibe, like just kind of more happy-go-lucky. Like, this Finn seemed very kind of like desperate. Like, I didn't like this Finn as much as the Force Awakens Finn.
It felt like he just woke up the entire movie,
Yeah,
which he technically did.
Yeah.
kind of did. I mean, this movie's like takes place over like 2 hours. So
Yeah.
like, yes. So like, I mean, I like that we get to see him more, but I definitely do think it would if he had sacrificed himself, that would have been a powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Because sacrifice is also a huge sort of kind of thing in this movie as well. As like,
Yeah, a lot of people died.
yeah, a lot of people taking themselves, but that was the only other major criticism I had was the books thing, which I'm not on the fence about. It's just it makes me wonder if like
What's their purpose later?
like what's their purpose later, and how I really would like to see how she kind of. I'd love to be able to see how Rey. I don't want to go into the next movie and Rey just have read the books and
Throw them out.
and now know about what's going on. I kind of want her to take the Luke approach and kind of rip them apart and kind of look at them and like tear them apart in a sense of like analyze them and come out with a critical like viewpoint, not just like, well, the book is not a recipe book. It's not a recipe book. It's a set of guides that she can pull from. You know,
And then she writes her own book.
that's what
Yeah.
something along those lines is what I hope.
I have a theory that the rise of Skywalker is not talking about a person, but that Rey, like by the end of the movie, will have created a new thing built off of the Jedi, maybe called
The title.
Skywalkers. or
That
something
was
like
my
that.
theory too. Cause,
Yeah.
Ooh, that's actually cool. Yeah.
because one of the big sticking points about this movie was like whole like Rey's like heritage and sort of like is it sort of like a cop out that we said like she's nobody, or is it sort of like help sort of solidify that someone can come from nowhere and make something of themselves? But I feel like it'd be more like impactful for someone to sort of like I said, use the past as a building block and sort of define their own path and sort of like make homage to it, but still be something completely on their own. I feel like her like rebranding Force users as Skywalkers would be like a great homage to what has come before, but still be its own thing. And maybe it's not just strictly, oh, we do things like the good way and that's it. Maybe it's like finding finding the balance for each person, because not everybody's like 50 dark, 50 light. It's like maybe it's 80, 20, 60, 40, whatever that balance is for that person. That works, and that's good.
Or at the very least, like a temple raised in the name of the
Skywalkers, and like
Skywalker temple,
and anybody with these abilities are Skywalkers.
Yeah, I mean, just something new that's just, you know, kind of like Pat, like you were saying, just that's built off of kind of the stuff you learned that was good, and then maybe like attempting not to make the same mistakes like of the past. You know, like learning from those failures. You know, like bringing the whole failure thing back into play. So.
Cool things about the movie, though. We should talk about cool things.
Hold on, before
There is
we go.
nothing cool.
Okay, so let's touch on Canto Bite real fast.
Oh no.
Okay, yes. Because that's probably the biggest thing.
Canto Bite to me has the most important themes that, like, as far as how they apply to the real world.
Yeah.
That are
for
kind
sure.
of come through DJ. Like I'm a pacifist personally. That's something I feel very strongly about.
I'm a violent motherfucker.
But I think they were trying to give you a glimpse into like the fact that like war, there's not necessarily good guys and bad guys. Like it's maybe something that just should be avoided, and that like really there's only a few people that it benefits, and those are like the people getting rich off of it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just super like a super important thing, and I wish it had just been delivered in a better way. Like I love that theme.
Yeah.
I think they failed on the delivery of it a little bit. Like it turned into a big fathier race. I just think it could have been done a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely the most, I guess, silly out of like the entire movie.
Yeah, it's definitely like
and having that contrast with that theme, which is pretty heavy.
Right.
Like sometimes that contrast can work, but sometimes it just kind of negates both, and I feel like it just. I'm kind of with you. I just kind of wish it was in a little better of a package and better presented.
Yeah.
But it makes it more. It makes the universe a little bit more like of course in our world, it's a huge parallels and a good message to take home. But like in the universe, it makes things a little bit more complicated because now there's this whole elite group built upon the war, and that's a conversation to have for the rebuilding, and that's something that could happen in like not necessarily the next movie, but like in the future Star Wars of like
Books, comics,
taking like
games.
How do we handle this elite class of individuals who are built upon the backs of war?
I was gonna say, like, in just sort of the desperation of war can make good people do not so great things. Could we saw that the resistance turned to like war profiteers and sort of like black market dealings in order to they do bad things to try to I guess in the hope to do something better, but like they still have consequences. They use blood money to build to buy weapons and machines in order to help win a war. So like, what are you willing to do to help others to say the right thing, or sort of like. Can anything good come out of a war, no matter like how sort of apparently good or bad the sides may be? Because like one of the quote that always sticks with me: the greatest crime can be committed in any war is starting it. And it feels like it's like there's can anything positive come out of a war? Even if you're like, oh, we're trying to stop Nazis, but if you're doing underhanded things, or can you avoid doing bad things in war in order to win, to stop something that's obviously quote unquote evil?
And that kind of comes in. Like those sort of questions comes in conflict with like the Jedi as well, right? Those sorts of questions come in because like the Jedi, like what the Jedi's beliefs, the good side or the light side. What's dark side? What's light side? Is there a middle neutral ground? And all those questions of all those questions kind of come into play with what it means to be a Jedi, and that kind of goes that way of like maybe there is a different way than just pure good, and I don't know. And then we start getting to like the political side of like the Jedi and
and I mean like Star Wars has always been like part of like I think a big like attractive thing about Star Wars is that there's a light side, a dark side, there's good guys, there's bad guys, and like I think for like it's really refreshing and like it's great escapism because our world is not like that at all. So that's that's a big appeal of Star Wars, right? Like that's a nice thing. So I don't necessarily want there to like not be a light side and a dark side anymore. I think the thing that I want to have explored more is like just because you're on the light side or like you're a Jedi doesn't mean like your actions don't have consequences and like there's not like fallout like from things you do.
There's obviously a light side and dark side like on the extremities, but there is some play room there that I would like to see. Like I said, exploring the warlords, you know, this didn't just happen overnight. You know, they showed that in the prequel trilogy. Like this was something that was built up over time with a lot of different moving parts and complications, and it wasn't just one section that caused the Empire to form. It was a lot of different things orchestrated by someone on the very top end of the very extreme dark, you know, side, but. There's a lot of moving parts, and I would like to see how they dismantle that sort of world. And it's interesting. I would love to see. I mean, I really wish we could see I mean, I know it's in the books, it's in the comics, but I would love to see like. And I know there's the new series that is it the new series they're doing? That's the in between original trilogy and sequels trilogy.
I mean, the Mandalorian's happening in between.
That's happening in between, but I'm talking about like.
Are you talking about Resistance?
Yes, does that take place in between them?
Yes, but that one's geared more to a younger audience.
Well, yeah, but still though.
Like even more so than Clone Wars and Rebels.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It might be something they touch on the Cassian Andor series, the character from Rogue One.
That's going to be a big thing. I'm very excited for that. Because Cassian's a really interesting character because he was a separatist. Who were viewed or were like meant to view as the bad guys in the Clone Wars, but then he's also in the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
And the motivations that had him end up in both of those places are the same. So I think that's going to be a very, very cool like thing to explore, you know? Like it goes back to the whole like there's here I forget where it's from, but like somewhere talks about like how there's heroes on both sides of the Clone War, and like they end up in the Rebel Alliance, like, so I don't know. It's just kind of I'm excited for that. I think it'll be cool.
I'm interested. I really am. I'm very interested in seeing. I would love to see more stuff that's post original trilogy. I really want to see more of the Empire Reconstruction sort of stuff. But anyways, what?
Nothing, Mac. You're just really breathing into your mic. Just.
He was getting the new father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Just don't do that.
All this deep Star Wars talk is just getting me.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's getting me excited
getting me excited, yeah.
No, I get it.
Kylo looks like he's edging the whole movie.
I'm glad in this movie that Adam Driver doesn't have the mask on most of the time because like the acting's phenomenal. I think.
Yeah.
Like the performance is amazing.
Oh yeah.
And he's probably the most out of the new cast, the most compelling character.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's definitely. I think he's the best actor. Not that anybody's doing a bad job. Like I think Oscar Isaac's also amazing. Like Daisy Ridley was pretty much a fresh face when like she did Force Awakens, and I think she's giving it a great performance too. John Boyega, great. Like.
BB-8.
BB-8. Oh my God. You talking shit on BB-8?
He's got Ben Shapiro in him. That's what's happening.
It's kind of falling flat for me.
He's a ball, you dumbass.
Yeah, I don't really believe balls.
Oh God.
There's a lot there. But we're just gonna move right on, move it along.
Yeah, that's what you get. That's what you just skip over that.
Well, I was gonna say like what Cody says towards like the movement to like we talked about what we like. And what sort of like our criticism is, I guess we'll talk about like the most memorable moments from the movie. Of all the things sort of tying it together, what are like the most like standout moments for everybody in the film?
Easily the scene where she just turns around the ship and just cuts it like butter.
Hyperspace.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about hyperspace missiles real quick?
No, we're not talking about that anymore.
Their implications are far-reaching. If I don't see them be like, oh fuck, why haven't we thought about that in the next movie? Piss.
Maybe it was they were like, hey, this is an opportunity to do something that'll look dope, and then they did it, and then we're not gonna think anymore about it because we got that dope visual.
I kind of want to see like suicide pilots, kamikaze type pilots.
I don't really know if that's ethical.
I mean, it's Star Wars.
God.
It's Star Wars.
I don't.
Shut up, Wenzel.
What?
I'm sorry, Ben Shapiro.
Wait, so you want to see more pilots and characters just kill themselves?
Anakin straight up murdered not thousands, a lot of kids.
Well, I'm just saying, like
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, but still, the bad guys can suicide bomb.
We're not talking about the Rebel Alliance. I want to see the First Order. Just Kylo's like, all right, guys, I need you guys to just sacrifice yourself to the Force for the Sith. Do it, boys. And then they're just like, pew, playing bad to the bone while they do it too.
I just want everybody to know I talked about suicide bombers being unethical, and Cody just got annoyed at me. I want everybody to know this. Cody, right over here.
Freaking awesome.
I mean, it is unethical, but
Well, nobody was specific. It said like, oh, we don't mean the resistance. Like nobody said that. Like, come on, man.
I thought you were saying no suicide bombers because it's bad, and I was like, he kills kids.
I want to see it from the. I want to see it from the bad side.
Yeah, sure.
So one of my favorite moments
Sorry, we're on a weird tangent.
was Luke's departure.
Yes.
From life with the Force theme playing, which is also called Binary Sunset, and then the twin suns being up there for one shot, man. That gets me every time. I always start tearing up.
That one scene where he's sort of sitting in the rock and his cape's blowing, and you see that's just
The twin
just
sunset.
a perfect shot.
It's beautiful. It's the perfect end. Like, cause like yeah, like that's
It's it.
That's how his journey began. His journey began with
Right.
like, you know, a sun,
binary sunset.
and then it ends with sunset. It's a perfect bookend, and a movie of like so many just sort of immaculate shots that has to be in the top.
it's just a beautiful moment, beautiful shot. Just
I really
great all
like.
around.
I like the fact that his capes went, and just like it blew away the wind. It wasn't left to be like.
Picked up by the nuns.
Yeah.
Darth Vader didn't like put his foot all over it.
Yeah.
It's got
Doesn't have
the
an Obi-Wan.
Stinky poop.
Jedi Dookie like in our canon.
No, it's just
I
literally
think I
gone.
was here for that.
Yeah, you were.
You were.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, there's just a big old pile of poop underneath there. All poop in his body just dropped
And
to the
Luke
ground.
dropped a huge one.
He hadn't pooped in 3 hours if he had been force ghosting.
You see how red he was when he died? Ooh, he pushed.
And those nuns, they're gonna get up there and be like, "Oh,
We had to deal with this shit for months, possibly years.
You know what? No more Jedi. No more. This is all we get. Is we get shit.
what?"
I mean, just think about it. Just think about all the Jedi that died there, and they're like, "Oh my god, we had to clean up Jedi shit all the time." It's fucking annoying. But yeah, no, that scene was beautiful. Like he was just gone forever. Goodbye.
Until the next one.
Until next one.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some mad Force ghosts.
Oh,
yeah.
for
Like,
sure.
it's gonna be great.
I wonder who. That was
Okay.
Yoda's just in these series for witty banter, and everyone wants to see him do anime shit. That's the other thing. Okay, real quick.
Yes.
Everyone in this goddamn fandom wants anime, and they're not getting it from Star Wars, and people are mad. They want Star Wars to be an anime. They want anime powers. They want flips. They want explosions.
I want Geno
Yeah,
Grievous.
and that's why like a lot of the old EU sucked because
Yeah, 'cause
fucking
it was just-
Luke was a god and it was
Right.
boring.
He was Goku.
Yeah, he literally was up, down, left, right, select, start, A, B.
wow.
So fuck off. This isn't Star Wars is an anime.
Yeah, like the point of Star Wars is it is a little more grounded.
Yeah.
Space
I-
Wizards.
Space Wizards
great-
to children.
A great scene that I'll bring up again is the fucking fight scene between the Praetorian Guards and Kylo and Rey. And then the scene leading up after where Kylo's like, let the past die. I think those two together are fantastic.
The throne room scene is just unparalleled in Star Wars fight choreography.
And just the throne room itself is
The
beautiful.
visuals
Just
are
that
fantastic. Like that
that
one shot that's in slow motion. It's just a locked off shot, I think, and it's just got that red background, red Praetorian. So your focus is all on Rey and Kylo.
Yep.
And
it's so good.
That, and then you have the actual backdrop just burning and falling around them.
Yeah, and
that was symbolism to some form or something.
The wood chipper that one guy gets put in.
He exploded.
Another reason why the Star Wars universe really needs OSHA.
Where's the railing?
There are no guardrails.
There are
anywhere
no
on
fucking
any
guardrails
ship.
whatsoever.
I just love in The Force Awakens on Starkiller Base on that massive bridge over an endless hole. There is 2 meters of railing on either end, and then it just they gave up, and then the whole middle is just unrailed.
The budget ran out.
Yeah, it's very
It makes
funny.
no you can build this huge fucking base, but you can't put fucking rails.
They probably ran out of budget at that point. They were like, okay, we got the big laser gun that kills 5 planets at once.
Excuse me?
We'll get the...
Nobody's gonna walk on this little bitty bridge and fall to their
But
death.
everybody walks through this bridge.
Excuse me, Emperor. I think we should put up handrails. No.
No handrails.
Why? Do it. Why? Do it. It's for the space aesthetic.
Kylo.
I wanted.
that stupid mask off.
It's a design choice.
Kill this insolent pup.
What?
Are you auditioning? Is this going on your voice acting?
Someone needs to get the HuffPost fucking holy water in the other room and spray it all over Ben Shapiro over here.
Man, I mean, just fuck's sake, man. Get some fucking rails. People are gonna die.
Anyways,
Yeah, it's unrealistic.
It's so scary.
Another shot that I really loved was the Kylo and Luke at the end of the movie where it looks like an old samurai film.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
gorgeous, and I love it.
Yeah.
Very
it
beautiful.
was very nice. I really love all of them. The
And
crate.
that
Crate's
entire
beautiful.
thing.
Can I just say The Last Jedi is my favorite shot? It's all of them. All
Yeah.
of them are
Yeah.
so good.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
I think it probably
Beautiful
has
movie.
the best cinematography out of the entire movies.
For sure.
I honestly think my favorite scene in this whole movie, and it's something I keep coming back to, and is kind of a symbolism. It's kind of symbolism for the rest of the movie. Is when Rey hands the goddamn lightsaber, and Luke just looks at it and tosses it behind him. And it was literally our opening, and it was literally like, "Fuck your expectations."
Right. That was
Yep.
Yeah.
I knew the first time I watched it, on the preview night and everything, I was like, oh, yep, okay. Everything I thought about this movie is going to be
Totally different.
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people saw that as like a middle finger to the audience, and probably one of the reasons why they were primed to fucking hate this movie. But also too, most people, a lot of the vocal minority who absolutely hate this movie are annoying pieces of shit.
Oh yeah.
I could have done without the throwing over the shoulder. I think that doesn't really add much to the movie for me. I don't mind it. but
I
it's
loved
just-
it.
Yeah.
That was Mark Hamill.
I thought it was a perfect way to just start the damn movie and just get right into the fact that we're not gonna bullshit around for a few hours until you figure out the theme of this. We're just going to literally go ahead and show we're done. We're not doing this the way you think it's gonna be.
I wish the porg would have ignited this lightsaber and it went through the other porg.
Oh God!
That would have been hilarious.
I would have loved to see the porgs be like little death machines, kind of like what is that fucking show from the 2000s where it was a bunch of cute animals killing each other.
Oh, Happy Tree
Tree
Friends.
Oh.
Yeah, I would love the porgs, but Happy Tree Friends in this movie. That would have been absolutely hilarious.
As soon as the porg saw Chewie eating his friends, he got a bunch of them. They killed Chewie. Chewie's dead.
Another beautiful scene. With Chewie just eating or attempting to eat his friends and can't.
And then the one's crying.
Yeah.
You think that's beautiful?
Yeah. Great acting, Dick.
Oh yeah, best actor.
I do really feel sorry for porgs, though, because they have immediately been overshadowed by the child from The Mandalorian.
Oh,
In as far as what's the cutest thing in Star Wars. Porgs and BB-8 were like neck and neck, and now it's just not even close.
yeah.
Man, I haven't even watched it, but I know exactly what everybody's talking about because
Yeah.
the internet is a fun place.
Just have, you know how like the coexist sticker is? Just have that, but with cute animals on
All those, like you
All
got,
cute
you
creatures.
got Ewoks, you got porgs, yeah,
BB-8,
BB-8,
and then Child of
Child.
God.
Jesus Christ himself.
Jesus?
That's it. Just have it say Co.
Go. Okay. But yeah, what a movie, man.
It's good.
Wait, the end here?
I think.
I think so. Hot take: The Last Jedi is a good movie.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's good.
I really need you to stop pushing your agenda, Pat.
Get out of here, bitch!
You can't.
Wish we had a roll of
Somewhere-
newspaper. Just start beating him with it.
Ben Shapiro just like dissolves away because he expended too much effort trying to project himself here.
We did it!
Yeah.
The rebels!
But he's kind of like the devil in that when you kill him, he just comes back, but
Yeah,
in a different, in a
he
different
resides
form.
in every
This isn't
MAGA hat.
supernatural, Wenzel.
I was talking about Diablo. Anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you all for
Anyway.
listening today.
Yeah.
This is our penultimate installment in the Star Wars files, and we hope you come back for our series finale with the Rise of Skywalker. It's gonna be a big one, and we all can't wait to see it. So thank you all for listening today and been doing this all so far. And you can follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at AYCH Podcast. You can follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, any RSS feed catcher. You can follow us on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear. You can follow us on YouTube to see all of our VODs from Twitch. They live on there forever. And on All You Can Hear on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at John Lost His Name. Follow my art on Facebook at John Lost His Name Art. And whatever else's plugs.
My name, Colt. Follow me on Twitter at ColtD00. Porgs are just baby angels.
My name's Jonathan. You can follow me on Twitter and Letterboxd at John Odinson12.
My name is Cody. You can follow me at CODDOC11 on Instagram and Letterboxd.
Hey, my name's Mac. Can I plug a couple things?
Yes.
By the way, you're a special guest.
Okay, so I have a Mandalorian podcast, like about the show The Mandalorian. We recap episodes and we do like voicemail, like call-in episodes and stuff like that too. So check that out. It's called The Mandalorian Watch. It's at the Mando Watch on Twitter, I think. But The Mandalorian Watch on all your podcast stuff. And then I have a band too called Jupiter Missile, and we're on all of the anywhere you can get music. So Jupiter Missile, thanks.
And they're great. You should listen.
Yeah, their merch design. I've only seen one of them. Very good.
Thanks, I did it.
That's very
I
good.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Mac, for being on this episode.
Yeah, I'm always happy. Like it's
Yeah.
always.
Thank you for making it.
We love you. We love having you on. It's great.
Thank you guys for having me. Like it's super fun.
No, thank you, Mac.
No, thank you,
Well,
Mac.
fine. Okay. Thank you, Matt. I guess just thank me then.
Fucking shit, Mac.
There's a clause in your contract. You're only allowed to be on episodes where we talk about Star Wars movie with Jedi in the title, and this is kind of your last shot.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, never say never, but for a while at least, yeah.
I mean, I wonder if you'll make it after this.
I wonder if you'll make it out of the building.
I don't know. I'm feeling like anything can happen right now. So. Well, thank you.
No problem. Thank you for listening. You can follow me on Twitter at Winsy Will. You can follow my art Instagram at World of Winsy. But this is Ben Shapiro. One last time, please don't support me. I'm the devil.
Get ya.